I'm Here's Luck, and I make vids. Vids are one of the original forms of remix video. They're part of media fandom. They come out of having intense relationships with televisual media. People in media fandom don't just watch TV. We think about TV, we talk about TV, we get really emotionally invested in TV shows and TV characters. Vidding's part of that. I'll be listening to music and I'll hear a song that captures something about a particular storyline or expresses what I think a character is feeling, and I say, wow, okay, I have to vid this. So I take the song and I match up clips from the TV show to the song, and that's a vid. I've always listened to a lot of music. Listening to music is one of the ways I make sense of my emotional life. The first time I saw a vid I liked, I realized that here was someone using music to make sense of a fictional character's emotional life, which made total sense to me. I had just started watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I loved it, and I saw a vid, I don't even remember what it was, but I saw a vid that was using music to say something about my favorite characters on that show, and I thought, okay, that's amazing, I have to try that. Part of what got me started was that I'd seen some vids that I liked and thought were smart, but I wasn't finding vids set to music that I really loved. I was like, well, if I want to see those vids, I guess I'm just going to have to make them myself. So I downloaded a trial version of Adobe Premiere, and I grabbed a handful of Buffy episodes from whatever peer-to-peer file sharing network I was using that week. And I opened Premiere, and I dragged in an MP3 and some episode files, and I started messing around. I mean, how hard can it be, right? Little did I know. For me, the web is just one distribution mechanism. Women have been making vids since way before the web, since like 1975. The first ones were slideshows, and then all through the 80s and 90s, women were making vids using 2 VCRs. To see vids, you had to go to a fan convention or write to somebody and ask them to send you a tape. I didn't know about any of that when I got started vidding. The only vids I had seen were on the web, and I made all my own vids available on the web. But in the years since then, I've distributed vids in other ways too. I've sent a lot of vids to fan convention vid shows, and a few years ago I released a DVD of my vids for people who wanted to watch them that way. Web distribution is the best way to be sure that a vid is reaching as many people as possible, and that's important to me. I make vids because I want to see them, but I put them on the web so other people can see them. Vids are a form of art, but they're also a form of communication. They're a way of sharing what we think about the media we consume. That opportunity to share with a wider world is probably the most exciting thing about posting vids on the web. One of the big challenges of web distribution for vidders is balancing accessibility with personal privacy. When I say I want other people to see my vids, I'm really thinking within pretty narrow parameters. The people I think of as my audience are people in media fandom, people who watch the same shows I watch. But when I distribute something on the web, it really is out there for anyone to see, which means it can be seen by people who won't get it and might misinterpret it or think it's silly. I've never had a problem with that myself, but I know some vidders who have. Their vids got distributed beyond their little corner of fandom, uploaded to YouTube without their permission or stuff like that. And the vidders ended up getting a lot of attention that they really didn't want. I've never found it difficult to be a feminist video maker or a female video maker, which probably has something to do with the fact that the vast majority of vidders are women, and most of the vidders I hang out with self-identify as feminist. For me, the difficulties of being a vidder haven't had anything to do with being a feminist. They've had to do with the nature of remix video. The companies who hold the copyrights on the songs and TV shows and movies don't like it that we're using their stuff, and so our work is subject to takedown notices. From my point of view, what I do is fair use of copyrighted material. I'm not making a profit, I'm using tiny snippets from the video, I'm not affecting the market value of the original work, so what's the big deal? But under the terms of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, it was technically illegal for me to rip DVDs in the first place, regardless of what I did with the footage once I'd ripped it. We had a big breakthrough on this front last year when the Librarian of Congress granted a DMCA exemption to makers of non-commercial remix videos, including vids. It's now legal for us to rip DVDs, which means we can finally start addressing the more complex legal question of fair use. Fans and vidders played a big role in the DMCA exemption ruling. The Electronic Frontier Foundation and the Organization for Transformative Works proposed the exemption, and members of the OTW testified in favor of it. It was a big victory for all of us who make vids and anime music videos and political remix videos, all of us who work with copyrighted material. If someone said to me that she wanted to start vidding, I'd say, that's awesome. Go buy more memory for your computer. The vidding community has changed my life, honestly. When I started vidding, I didn't know that much about technology or computers or the web. I mean, I was an English major. I used email, and that was about it. But as I got involved with the vidding community, I met women who knew all kinds of stuff about hardware and software and programming, and it was really inspiring. So I learned how to use video editing software. I learned how to code in HTML and CSS and Perl so that I could build and maintain websites related to vids. I learned how to build my own computers. I love that. And I love being part of a community of women who want to tell stories and interpret narratives. We could do that in writing, and a lot of us do, but there's something really powerful about doing it with visual quotes from the show. That's what drew me to vids in the first place, and that's what keeps me vidding.